Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Sean's Retroverse. This is Sean, and today we're going to be talking about broken plastic. As retro game collectors, we've all had to deal with it at one time or another. You buy a cartridge at the flea market. What's that rattling around inside? Broken plastic. You buy a console or a computer. The halves of the shell are pulling apart from each other. The screw's in there. What's the problem? Broken plastic. So what can we do to fix it? It's a very interesting question. I've never really trusted super glue. It just doesn't seem to hold on to plastic that well. Maybe I've used the wrong glue. I don't know. It's just not as strong as the original. But let's see what we can do. A couple of months ago, I actually was working on this little guy right here. It's a QuickShot II Plus joystick. Now my family used to make jokes when I was younger, saying if a joystick lasted more than a couple of months with me, it would be Durashon. And so, let me tell you, the QuickShot joysticks were always Durashon to the max. They always lasted a long time for me. Now, the QuickShot II Plus, the problem is I had 3 of them. Why did I have 3 when I only needed no more than 2? Well, because this little guy had broken plastic. I had worn it out to the point that the joystick was loose and floppy on the plastic base. When I tried to open it up to fix it, well, there's broken plastic inside. I already knew at that age, super glue ain't gonna do this. It'll be broken again in 20 minutes. So, I pulled it out of the box a couple months ago, and I started wondering, can I actually fix this broken plastic? What are the ways we can do it? Super glue's out. We can weld, ruin a soldering iron in the process, make a real mess of things, and then we just have something that's not really all that usable. Maybe use a few parts, maybe. I don't want to do that. I want to have a working joystick. So, I tried a little experiment to see what I could do. And the most unlikely thing you would think actually fixed it quite well. Let's tune in and take a look. But first, I do want to let you know, this was a couple months ago before I had a tripod set up, and I was using my camera phone, so the camera footage is very shaky. Please bear with me on that. I normally wouldn't share that quality of video, but this video was just too cool not to share. So let's take a look and see how things turned out. Tonight I'm working on a little project. What I am working on is a QuickShot joystick. Actually, this is a QuickShot II Plus, which I used for, originally had it for my Commodore 64, and as you can see, the bottom of the housing, I've taken the joystick apart. It's got a little bit of a flimsy feel to it because there's this little piece of plastic here where the screw goes into, and that is broken off, so it's making the joystick a little floppy. So I was contemplating ways of trying to repair this. It's a pretty clean break. It should weld together pretty well, but I don't think I want to try to heat weld it. I really think that I would just make a really bad job of that, and I've never really had much luck with welding plastic. However, this is injection molded plastic. As you can see, there's a little chip missing up here in the corner too, but that's not as important for the stability of the joystick. One of the things I am hoping this is a type of plastic, maybe ABS. I don't know what kind of plastic. I'm not really good at identifying plastics, but I'm going to take a little bit of acetone, basically purple primer here, which is mainly acetone with some coloration and a couple other things in it, and see if it melts the plastic. And if it melts the plastic, then what we can do is we can use it to weld the piece back on, and then maybe do a little bit extra stuff. Just take a little bit of this purple primer on a broken off Q-tip here, and I'm just going to kind of see what it does. Well, really can't seem to get much on there. But basically what I'm trying to do is test a little area to see if it melts the plastic. And by Jove, I think we've got it! So you can definitely see the plastic there is melting under the acetone. So that's what's really cool. If this can focus, there we go. It's very clearly melted. So I'm going to try to melt this little piece back on and let it sit overnight until the acetone all evaporates away, hopefully leaving me with a much more solid piece. I think I should be able to take it and even reinforce a little bit there. So stay tuned. I'm trying to figure out the best way to drop this on here. I'm thinking probably just a Q-tip, which I just happen to have some Q-tips over here in this swab box. So bear with me. All right, that works. So here's the piece that I'm going to try to get on here. I'm going to get some acetone. Put it around that piece. Put it around this piece. Kind of get it on there. Hopefully that will start to melt this plastic. Let me put a little bit more on there just to make sure I got good coverage. Okay. Seems to be doing the job, but we'll see. Oh yeah. It's kind of gooey and fitting right in there really nice. Oh, that's awesome. So we can kind of see that it's kind of got some goop in there, and it's just, hell, it's already holding. That is awesome. On this side, we have a little, you can just see the crack just barely there. So what I'm going to do is, this is doing pretty good. I'm going to run back over it with some acetone on the top. Oh, I just got too much on there. Alright, so I'm going to just kind of smooth this back down. Again, it's just going to kind of melt the whole thing and glob it together. And that's it. Piece of lint there, but it's okay. Alright, so I'm going to let that set overnight. This, crud, I'm getting purple mess on my nice top here, but there it is. That should, it already is feeling pretty solid. I'm pushing down on it, but it's holding in place. On the other side, you know what? On the other side, I am going to just go ahead and go for it, and I'm going to stick this Q-tip down in here. Well, there we go. I was cleaning up the mess I just made on the Formica countertop here. So I'm going to get a little more of this purple stuff here. I'm going to hold it from the back side here, and I'm just going to glob it down in the hole there, which will also melt it from this side. Oh, alright, so I'm going to have to just wipe that off because I don't want it to mar the plastic finish too much. Marred it a little bit. Okay, well, it is what it is. But yeah, that piece of plastic, there it will sit overnight, and we'll check it out in the morning. So now it is the next day. As you can see, the weld actually worked pretty well. I can get the thing to actually focus. There we go. And so you can see there's still some, it's kind of shiny there. You can see where the acetone was. And on the back, yeah, I guess there's a little bit of shininess down on the hole there. That's to be expected because it did melt the plastic and rebond it. I have to say I'm really, really thrilled with that. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to do it, and it's the strongest weld I've ever seen on a plastic. So who'd have thought acetone? Absolutely awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this joystick here, and I've got it sitting here with another QuickShot joystick that had a short in the strain relief. I did not do a video of that one last night. I didn't have enough battery power left in that, but what I traced it down to was a short in the strain relief there, so I tugged on the strain relief real good. I desoldered all the wires inside of this one and shortened the strain or pulled the string relief further down the wire. Found where the short was, and anyway, different story for that one. But I was able to repair this joystick last night, and it feels really good. I'm going to go ahead and put this one back together. I think the other parts are, I don't know, elsewhere on my bench over here. I was using them as reference last night. Oh, let's turn off this soldering iron. Okay, here's the other half of that joystick. This one didn't have solder-on wires. It had little clips. So I'm going to find the wire. That's the Atari one here. Let's see. And again, I was using this as reference last night. So basically, where I had a short in the cable on the other joystick, these were solder-on connections versus these clips that are on this one, which was actually kind of convenient because then I don't have to worry about putting these clips back on or soldering on. So what I did is I pulled, and it takes a lot of force actually, but I pulled the strain relief further down on the wire, about, I don't know, that's about 6-7 inches of wire there. So I pulled it 6-7 inches down. I kept on pulling more down. I took an X-Acto knife and split the jacket and found, sure enough, the ground cable had a short in it. And so I cut that out and re-soldered it back on, and that so now the wire is about 6 to 8 inches shorter on this joystick, but it's a usable joystick, which is better than what it was. So I'll go ahead and reassemble this now on a QuickShot. I'm going to try to do this while one-handed. Matter of fact, I'm going to set this up here and try to get an overhead view so I can do this kind of hands-free. So I just kind of put these cables through here, and I'll just kind of leave this here for now. The QuickShot joysticks are labeled. I don't know that you can see that very well in here, but kind of in the solder mask there you can see they're labeled by the color. So let's see. Here I have orange, and that is orange. Okay. Now, I don't know, I've always kind of wondered if these connections ever are problematic. Apparently they must have been at some point for some people, because I have a later version of the joystick where they were all soldered on. But until I have problems, I'm just going to keep them like they are. They're clean connections. I've never had a problem out of these slide-on connections, so I'll just keep using the joystick like it is. The next thing I got to do is just line up the circuit board. Switch here goes towards the switch housing there for the auto fire. And so I'll just kind of make sure it's lined up like so. Yeah, and so I just kind of toggle the switch there. The next thing, and I probably should have done this before, is I got to set this strain relief back in. This just got a little thing, so it kind of sets in like that, no big deal. The tricky part is getting the spring and the little washer here into the hole. And it's a little bit worky to do that. I find it best to hold the joystick upside down, kind of like we're looking at it here, and try to look in from the side as I put it in, while not crunching these wires up. And also pay attention, because the front of the joystick is where the switch is, the back of the joystick is where the strain relief goes, so it'll actually go on like so. So I try to just take the cables or the small wires, and you can either go back this way. I think today on this joystick I'm gonna go this way, just because they seem to curl a little better that way. And the little washer and the cables, they're a little worky, so I'm gonna just have to kind of work this in. I don't know that I can do this on camera, just because I really need to kind of focus on what I'm doing here. So if I get this off of the camera, I apologize. But I try to basically And you really can't see it very well, but I'm trying to get the orange and black wire into the little slot in that collar there. And I had it pretty much lined up there. But I'm here to show you, so I'll pull all my work out. After you do this a few times, it's actually not that big a deal. It's just a little worky the first time you try to do it. And of course the goal is I want to get the spring and the little ceramic-like washer in there. Okay, just ever so gently. Okay, almost got the washer lined up. Okay, so it all just kind of snaps together like that. I also just kind of want to look, make sure I'm not pinching any wires in the side of the case. That sometimes can happen. And I'll just kind of hold it. First of all, make sure the switch is in place right. Seems okay. Kind of wiggle the joystick around. It should have its springiness, which says it's kind of in there right. And so now, while I'm holding it all together, I'll just drop these screws back inside the casing. So, here we are, load runner. I'll test the switch first. Yes, the auto fire seems to be working. This is not a very good game to do auto fire on, but you can see the auto fire works. Yeah, focus on that a little better. There we go. Joystick is working pretty well. Whoops. And I died. But hey, the joystick is working well. Let me make sure both joystick buttons are working. Yep. And then of course the auto fire works. Yeah, perfect. What better way to test a game or test a joystick than to play a game? Woohoo! And that is the victory sound of working joystick. Doodly-doo-doo-doo. Doodly-doo-doo-doo-doo. So yeah, the joystick feels good. The weld is holding pretty well. Some of the Commodore games get pretty crazy. The way they got broken to begin with was probably playing Decathlon or Caveman Olympics or something where you have to do this. Which these joysticks work really well for that, but it does definitely put some stress on it, and it's holding pretty well. So, acetone as a plastic welding agent, does it work? Is it worth having in your chemicals? Absolutely. This joystick has been saved from going into the garbage, saved from going into a parts bin, or saved from a fate of just being a loose floppy joystick that nobody wants to use. Now, for this, it was a bit of an experiment. I used what I had on hand, which in this case was purple primer. Purple primer does leave some purple marker behind. It's designed for PVC pipe to make sure you clean the whole pipe. But in this case, we have black plastic on the joystick, so you really can't see the purple against that plastic. It's not ideal for other uses, so if you're going to go out and buy some acetone, I actually recommend going to your local pharmacy or drugstore and picking up a bottle of nail polish remover. It'll be in the beauty aisle, and it's going to be, look for 100% acetone, as it shows on the label. This particular bottle came from CVS, which is a popular pharmacy here in the United States. And you can look at the ingredients on the back. The ingredients here are acetone and denatonium benzoate. Now, I did check out that particular chemical. That is a bittering agent. It's in there for safety reasons. So pets and children don't try to drink the stuff. Makes it very bitter and unpalatable to drink. But it's also just a very small trace amount in there. So I'm not worried about that corrupting the plastic weld at all. It really is not a problem there. So that's a much smaller bottle than what you get at a big box store, which is usually going to come in a much larger quart-sized container. A little bit of acetone goes a really long way. This will probably last me for years. Now, many of you guys have wives and girlfriends, and many of you girl collectors even have nail polish remover that's probably acetone based. It's probably underneath your bathroom sink. You can use that. Take a look, see what dyes and perfumes it has in it, if it's going to leave any color behind on the plastic that you're welding. And so that's the only thing I can think of there to mention. But if you just want to try something, and a lot of these plastic brakes are on the inside of components, a little bit of extra perfume really isn't going to hurt a whole lot inside there. So feel free to use those as just an experiment to see if it works on what you have before investing in a bottle. But I mean, a bottle is a couple dollars, so it's really not expensive stuff either. Now, what else have I tried to weld? Well, this is a Breadbend C64, the top half of the case anyway, that I picked up at a local game shop, Super Game Station. Check them out. And anyway, it actually has suffering from the black screen of death, and while taking it apart, this little tab actually broke off of it, and also all the stems for the screws on the base underneath the board were also breaking off as well and splitting, and I really was having a tough time getting the acetone trying to work. And it does melt it kind of, but I had to keep applying acetone and reapplying acetone to get enough of it melted to actually make the connection. And I thought maybe it was a clear acetone, so I tried the purple primer as well, but I was getting the same exact result. So you can kind of see the purple there where I had tried to weld it. Ultimately, after leaving it set for a while, it actually did seem to hold pretty tightly, but this case is just so far gone. It's apparently been stored in an attic where there's been a lot of hot and cold temperature extremes in summer and winter, and just didn't really age particularly well. So I think I'm going to actually probably end up having to do away with this cabinet or this case here and put this in a 64C case that was done on Kickstarter here a couple months ago. So stay tuned to that. That'll probably be a future video here as well. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and watching this video. I really hope this has been useful to some of you out there. I've never seen the acetone trick really used for retro game restoration before, and I'm surprised it hasn't been used before. It really works well, but again, it may not work on every plastic, so please be sure to test a small little swatch inside the plastic you're going to actually weld something that's out of sight, and you can pretty easily see if it's going to melt the plastic, which is what allows it to really weld it back with good strength. Anyway, this has been an episode of Sean's Retroverse. Please like, subscribe, drop me a comment below so I know you're there, you're listening, and what you think of this video. And we have more fantastic videos on the way. Thank you, and have a great day.